With time, we are heading towards beautiful pathological situations and we are not aware of it. We call COVID 19 a pandemic. And what about the diabetes? Why does no one talk about it? If you see the statistics of diabetes worldwide, our India comes in the second position. Why? Because of the rate of population? Well, let me tell you, I am here to talk about the rate of diabetic patients that we have in India. What about the nutrition paradigm that we follow? What about the staple food preference? And what about the sedentary lifestyle that we have? Yes, we need to pay our attention on all these factors to understand these pathological situations that we have, diabetes. In India, a normal standard meal consists of 90% carbohydrates or sugar. Sugar does not only mean the white crystals that we use to get the sugary taste, but also the carbohydrates that we consume on a regular basis, starting from chapatis, breads, rice, whether it's white rice or brown rice, whatever, cornflakes, oats, and there are a lot of other carbohydrates that we consume. All these things are actually carbohydrates or sugar, and when we consume it, it becomes converted into glucose. And the high concentration of blood glucose consistently, along with the impaired fat oxidation state, means when our body stops utilizing stored energy or stops breaking down fat efficiently, these two states lead to the state of prediabetes. And slowly it gets converted to type 2 diabetes and to type 1 diabetes. And you know what happens in the stage of type 1 diabetes, right? So it's necessary to pay our attention, it's necessary to educate ourselves that how to reverse this kind of pathological situations. And that's why you need to watch this entire Health Talks episode number 3, because this episode is going to be on diabetes, or rather I should say, how to reverse type 2 diabetes. But the fact is, I want to invite online an expert who is having years of experience in reversing type 2 diabetes. He will be sharing real scientific information with us, pragmatic solutions. He will be sharing his clients' successful stories to motivate you, to motivate us to get proper information. I want to have Mr. Rahul Patel, who is the founder of My Genetic Nutrition, and also he is a functional medicine coach. He's a health coach and he's helping a lot of people. So that's why, without wasting much time, let's start today's video. And yes, of course, welcome to my channel. I'm here to talk, myself Raj, and let's start today's Health Talks episode number 3 with Mr. Rahul Patel.
Yeah, so finally, we have Mr. Rahul Patel with us, as I said before, and today he will be sharing some real scientific information and pragmatic solution that how to reverse type 2 diabetes easily. So without wasting time, I just want to, have him and just want to listen because it's like he's immensely professional and knowledgeable person on this. So, sir, please share your experience, man. It's like, how did you start all these things?
So, hey, Somik, thanks for inviting me on your show. And it's always my pleasure to talk about health and promote health and helping people reverse diabetes being my passion. It is something what I always look forward to. So anyone brings up the topic of diabetes, and I'm on for the game just to talk about diabetes. And then obviously when we talk about diabetes, it leads to several different conversations. Again, thank you so much for inviting me on your show. It's a great honor and pleasure. So let's go ahead. I mean, you send me some set of questions that you would like to
that's it.
ask about diabetes.
Exactly.
So let's go by in that sequence, what you would like to go with.
So the first of all, most simple question number one that comes, that how do you get diabetes? Means what's the main problem behind this? When somebody is actually having diabetes. Yeah.
Well, the main problem is in what we eat. So as we all know that diabetes is a food disorder, and it's the simple solution for reversing diabetes is, if the food is the problem, then we have to change the food that we eat. And if we eat the right food, it's not just diabetes, but in all, you always get optimal health, or your health improves. But when we talk about specifically diabetes, then one particular food type comes into question, and that is carbohydrates. Now, for understanding diabetes, we have to travel back in time. We have to travel back in time when we were hunter gatherers, and when our body, our human body, was evolving. So we have to basically align ourselves with our body. So when I say align ourselves with our body, we have to understand what is our body made for, and then provide the type of food. So the example I give to people is, normally if you have bought a diesel car, you would be filling in diesel so the car performs optimally on that fuel. So the fuel that we eat, that is food, also has to match the type of engine that we have. And the engine is the digestive system. Yeah, right. And what food we provide, what fuel we provide, the digestive system breaks it down and supplies it to your entire body, your organs, your muscles, your brain, etc. And that fuel will help you become the best version of yourself, or it will lead you to becoming the healthiest person that you're supposed to be genetically.
Right.
So what happens is, going back to the example of the car, if you are having a diesel car and you would say, okay, let me drive my car fast today, so let me change the fuel and put petrol instead. Is your car going to run on petrol if it's made for diesel? No, it's not going to run, because it's going to break down and you'll have to take it to the service center. And that's what exactly is happening to today's population, modern population. What we have been doing chronically, or for years, we have been feeding our body with wrong fuel. And when we feed our body with wrong fuel, your body is an intelligent unit. It tries to break down, remove what is usable and use it. But there is a lot of unusable stuff. There's a lot of stuff that creates inflammation, chronic inflammation. There's a lot of toxins in the food that we're eating. And one of the main toxins is the carbohydrates that we're eating.
Yeah.
And chronically, since childhood, we have been exposed to a lot of carbohydrates, and just not one carbohydrate. Normally, when people talk about carbohydrates, they only think about sugar. But for our body, whatever mimics sugar is everything that is carbohydrates. And to an extent, science and the researchers and the industry is to be blamed for it, because they have confused the normal population, the normal man, the layman, in understanding what carbohydrates are. For a person, sugar is only plain sugar. Jaggery is different and honey is different. Then grains is different, fruits is different, whereas everything comes under the same umbrella, that is carbohydrates. So people fail to understand when they are told, hey, listen, you have got diabetes. Now, aapko sugar kam karna hai. You got to reduce sugar.
They actually think about the white crystals that we use to enhance.
So they only think, yes, you're right. They only think about white sugar, and white sugar is nothing at the end but carbohydrate. And along with sugar, then the other question that people will ask is, can I have jaggery? Can I have honey? It is so healthy. We have to explain to them. So the most of the part when someone comes for diabetes goes into education. So the initial part and the entire journey is filled with questions. It's filled with a lot of questions. And most of the part, if you're someone who wants to help someone reverse diabetes, is full of questions. And the entire journey, most of it is more of education. Right. And once the person is educated in real nutrition and how the digestive system works, then the person is sorted.
Exactly. Right? That's very true. Means a proper solution along with a proper consultation is required to, understand what exactly it's all about, means how it happens. You're completely right. So the number two, what are the symptoms of pre-diabetes? Means normally if you get to see that there are a lot of people, those who are having pre-diabetic state, but actually they have no, knowledge about, they're not aware of it. So what are the symptoms of that?
So before we go to the symptoms, let's understand what is diabetes. So we understood what is basically what is leading us to diabetes. So this is something where we have failed to understand our system, our digestive system, and we are introducing wrong fuel to it. So for 25 million years, our bodies, human bodies, have developed in a certain way. And for the past few hundred years, we have started eating differently. Right. And we have started eating differently because we have been told the wrong things, and told the wrong things by trustworthy sources. I have a few slides which I'll show after some time.
Yeah, sure.
So all the wrong eating habits or the food sources, going back to the same example, if you have a diesel car, you can't put petrol in that. So if my digestive system is made for fat and proteins, and if I'm eating exogenous carbs, it is going to lead me to problem. It is going to lead me to some kind of health problems. So over a period of time, when we keep eating carbohydrates in different forms and different quantities, at some point of time, our body loses its ability to not to break down the carbohydrates, but to metabolize carbohydrates or to use carbohydrates. And that inability of your human body to use carbohydrates is nothing but diabetes. And the hidden factor, or what is lying underneath that inability to use glycogen or glucose or carbohydrates, whatever you want to call it, is insulin resistance.
Right.
And insulin resistance is the root cause of multiple metabolic disorders. And one of the metabolic disorders is diabetes. So insulin resistance is your root cause, and what shows up outside externally is diabetes. Yeah.
Automatically after
Now
that.
going back to your next,
Yeah. You say, you continue that.
Yeah. So going back to your next question is, what are the symptoms and signs and symptoms that people experience when they have diabetes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the signs and symptoms that people experience, let's talk about signs. Darkening of skin on the neck is one of the signs that people will experience, and people often ignore that. Small skin tags on the body, so they look like moles, but they are skin colored tags along the body somewhere. So that is a classical sign of insulin resistance.
Okay.
Obesity is a sign of insulin resistance and diabetes. So obesity, actually, if you think about obesity, nature has developed it very intelligently. So people who become obese, they have an extra, I always tell people, so this is a part of the education and talk I give to people. Obesity is actually an extra defense mechanism that a person has against falling sick. So there are two categories of people who become fat from outside and people who become fat from inside.
Yeah.
So the people who become fat from inside remain thin throughout their life. So they will remain thin throughout their life, and they will always boast about, hey, listen, dekha, mera weight abhi bada nahi hai. Itne saal se my weight is same. All these years my weight has maintained same. But
You're
they
talking
fail to
about the
understand
visceral
or
adiposity.
to know or investigate the visceral fat they have. And the second type of people are people who become obese. So people who become obese have an extra defense. So people who become obese have an extra defense mechanism, and their body ends up adding fat. And that actually is designed by nature to prolong your health, to prolong you from falling sick. And obesity is a sign of insulin resistance. Obesity is a sign of diabetes. Obesity is a sign of metabolic disorder. The other sign of diabetes that people experience, the symptoms, are basically frequent urination. Yeah, people tend to go for frequent urination.
Right.
There is a sweet smell of the urine. So people who have diabetes, their urine will kind of smell very sweet, honey-like. That's why
it's also known as the diabetes mellitus, basically. Diabetes
mellitus, and it is in Hindi. It is called madhumeha.
Okay,
right?
I didn't know that.
So so madhu means honey. So something that smells and tastes like honey. So the doctors for thousands of years back, hundreds of years back, actually few of the doctors went to the extent of tasting the urine, and it tasted sweet. The other symptoms of diabetes can be sudden loss of weight. So sudden loss of weight is something people experience. The other symptom can be frequent hunger, irritation, dryness of the mouth, dryness of eyes, frequent hunger, and inability to gain weight. That is also one of the classic things that people experience. Tingling in the toes. A lot of times people experience tingling in the toes, so that is damage to the nerves that is happening, which is supplying the blood to the extremities. People also experience depression, PCOS in women, and menstrual problems. So PCOS is also a part of the metabolic disorder, and people who have, and ladies or the women who have PCOS are experiencing insulin resistance and diabetes. And they are the same ladies who will also experience depression at some stage in life. So depression is also an outcome of insulin resistance and diabetes. What else?
Means you have already
There
said
are
a
so many
lot
other
of
things I
things.
can talk
Means
about.
like just because of the high intake of sugar consistently, a person can have all these things. Means it's really
Yeah,
dangerous, and as well we need to actually educate ourselves regarding the what actually happens with the high consumption of carbohydrates on a regular basis consistently.
absolutely. Another thing, what I've noticed in the people who come to me for reverse diabetes, that their skin tonality improves. So actually, the skin under the influence of elevated sugar
Hmm.
keeps on becoming darker. The skin quality becomes it gets damaged. And of course, the reason behind is the glycation. So the increased glycation in the blood, so the oxidation that happens, that increases the free radicals in the blood. So that also promotes aging. So elevated sugar levels is going to promote glycation, oxidation, free radicals, and aging. And that kind of really damages your skin color. And people who have reverse diabetes with me, their skin has started glowing. You should see their before and after pictures. The skin color is hugely different. And another thing what I notice in people who reverse their diabetes is their confidence levels really increase. And the reason for increasing the confidence levels is nothing but the change in the brain chemicals.
Exactly, that is what happens. Correct. Automatically the confidence and overall the thought process starts changing as the person is actually switching from a pathological situation to a physiological state, and it's actually happens just by cutting down the excess amount of sugar or carbohydrates from a regular diet. Okay.
Absolutely.
And as you
Absolutely.
said, there are a lot of things that I've already said, and means it was my question basically that how obesity stimulates diabetes, but exactly you have already stated the fact of the impaired fat oxidation that happens because of high carbohydrate intake on a regular basis. So, can you just little bit elaborate of the fact of for an obese person, if that person is not having a state of type 2 diabetes, means I've seen a lot of people that they say that no, I don't have diabetes, but they are still obese. So for them, means what should be your message? Means how to get the pre-awareness of diabetes.
So people who are obese are lucky. So I'll again emphasize on the fact that people who are obese are lucky because they have an extra defense mechanism that is saving them from or that is just prolonging or delaying the process of becoming really unhealthy. But the fact remains that they are insulin resistant. The advantage what people who are obese have is that the regular tests, the lab tests that the doctors do, the HbA1c levels, the fasting sugar, and the PP sugar, the 2 hour post eating sugar, all of that comes normal in most of the obese people. Now the reason for this is elevated insulin levels. So they have high levels of insulin levels. So what happens is because doctors only check these three markers for diabetes and they come normal, doctors will tell them, listen, you are not diabetic, you are within the range. And
Got it.
another problem with the range that the
Mhm.
labs in India are basically producing is very wide range. It is, I think, something from 5.4 onwards to 6.5 or something like that. And if you fall in between that range, then you're pre-diabetic or not diabetic. So there's a huge gray area between being non-diabetic, diabetic. There's that gray area is called now pre-diabetic. Now this pre-diabetic, this gray area helps no one but the doctors and the pharmaceutical companies, because the doctors say, hey, listen, you're not diabetic yet. You can still enjoy the food what you're eating. So what you got to start reading behind the lines. Who's talking? The pharmaceutical company is talking. Hey, listen, you're still not diabetic. You're a pre-diabetic. Continue
Really,
eating
it's
what you're
great.
eating.
It's
Become
great.
a diabetic and buy our
And then
products.
exactly, then come to us and then
So
buy our
instead
products.
of so instead of warning the person, "Ki, listen, your sugar level is elevated. You are diabetic. There's nothing called as pre-diabetes. In fact, either you're diabetic or you're not diabetic. People should be told in black and white. There should be no gray area as far as diabetes is concerned. There are a lot of ranges in the lab tests are in gray areas. So people should be told if you are below 5.4 HbA1c levels, you are non-diabetic. And if you are 5.5, you are diabetic. Yeah.
Correct. Right.
But
Simple.
even if your readings come below 5.4 or 5.4 or 6, which is little lower than the defined range by the labs, and if you are obese, you have to check your insulin levels. You got to check your fasting insulin, and you got to check your PP insulin. These are the two markers you got to check. That is going to tell you whether there is elevated levels of insulin, whether you're experiencing insulin toxicity, and whether you are insulin resistant. Excuse me. And how to find whether you're insulin resistant? There is something called HOMA-IR test. It's called the insulin resistance test. It's very easy. You can do it online. You just need two markers for that. That is, one is fasting, your fasting glucose, and your fasting insulin levels. And there is a calculator which is online, and you can check it out yourself whether insulin resistant or not. And if you're insulin resistant, my dear friend, whether you're obese or thin, you are experiencing metabolic disorder, and you are most probably a diabetic. So please look after what you eat,
very
and carbohydrates is the culprit. You got to minimize or eliminate carbohydrates.
Okay. The most important fact after that comes, what are the foods that somebody needs to avoid? Means everyone needs to avoid. Basically, the carbohydrates that we do consume on a regular basis.
See, it becomes a very sensitive issue when I just tell people, listen, just stop eat carbohydrates. So it's a very simple solution that you can ask people to follow. Normally, the nutritionist will define there are 3 macronutrients, that is fat, proteins, and carbohydrates. And I remember very well one of my friends, and who's also one of my role models, Kaizad Kapadia. He puts it in very simple words. ये 3 macros क्या है? सिर्फ 2 macro है.
And another one is just for entertainment.
तीसरा वाला macro है ही नहीं. Yeah. So it's very simple. Going back to our history, because we have to keep going back to our history, our ancestors, our hunter-gatherer ancestors. We have to understand they ate only fat and proteins, and because they ate fat and proteins, that also cooked fat and proteins a lot of times. That's when the human brain. So our ancestors, our hunter-gatherer ancestors, they discovered how to eat fat and proteins, the leftover fat and proteins, the nuts, and after cooking, they would eat the meat and fat.
Right.
And the cooking and the fat and proteins helped human brains become larger and larger over millions of years. And because our brains became larger because of the fat and protein diet, we got the ability of intelligently thinking more and more. So the intelligence and the size of the brain that the humans have today only developed because of millions of years of evolution on fat and protein. I have to keep repeating it. Our brains only grew to become so big. We became only intelligent so big, the brains, only because we ate fat and protein.
Right.
Now, only for the past few hundred years or thousand, let's say agricultural evolution has been for 12,000 years. And grains or carbohydrates, what we eat, grains, or all the food that is made from grains, we became so intelligent that we actually discovered the third macro externally to eat, and that is carbohydrates from grains. Yeah.
Right.
So this third macro that humans actually discovered because of the intelligence that for millions of years we had discovered, we started eating agricultural products. Now, these agricultural products for thousands of years were not the main source of food. It was only a part of our diet. Main part still existed in animal fats and proteins. But over a period of years, when all the industries took over, when everything became commercial, then the entire thing shifted to being promoted, marketed, selling, and the maximum profit was coming through the agricultural products. And that's where everything went. I mean, in that direction, everything went. And we are today experiencing a huge problem of health, disease, metabolic disorders, cancer, autoimmune conditions, and we right now are experiencing because of exposure to these carbohydrates, processed foods, toxins which are coming through the food and agriculture.
Right, right, exactly. So after this, really a serious question that comes automatically. What is a basic diet recommendation from your side will be for a person who is having a state of pre-diabetes or having a type 2 diabetes?
Yeah. So yeah, let's link your earlier question and this question together. Again, what we started conversing before was what should someone eat when they have diabetes,
Yeah,
or what they should not eat when they have diabetes.
yeah,
So carbohydrates is basically the culprit behind making people experience metabolic disorders,
mhm,
and one of the disorders is diabetes. So I ask people to minimize the carbohydrate, so and slowly eliminate the carbs, which are basically making your blood sugar levels elevated.
mm,
Over a period of time, we have to also keep observing your insulin levels. So the type of carbohydrates that you eat is very important. So carbs is a part of, so grains, for example, wheat, rice, bajra, nachni,
mhm,
jawar, whatever names, different names they are known by. That is 100% carbohydrates. So you got to really watch how much carbohydrates you eat. So there are different people who are sensitive to carbohydrates, and the amount of carbohydrates they will be allowed to eat will change. So the range is between 25 grams per day, it's very, very less, to 125 grams per day. So this is a wide range that people are allowed to eat carbohydrates initially on a diet, depending on how sensitive their body is to carbohydrates. So if someone is having good sensitivity to carbohydrates, someone who is able to tolerate carbohydrates really well, can eat something around 100 to 125 grams of carbohydrates. But someone who is very, very sensitive to carbohydrates, someone who cannot tolerate carbohydrates, whose blood sugar levels are constantly elevated, people who are
mhm,
experiencing a lot of insulin toxicity,
mhm.
sometimes 20, 25 grams per day carbohydrates are allowed, or sometimes zero carbs are suggested. But before cutting down the carbohydrates completely, there is an adaptation phase. So there's a gradual cutting down of carbohydrates in the diets. And mind it, it is never that you are controlling the quantity of food. So controlling quantity of the food is never an aim of helping someone reverse diabetes. It is always about eating a lot of fat and protein, but minimizing the carbohydrate exposure, the exogenous carbohydrate exposure. So that is the key. So in standard Indian diet, different sections of India, so north, east, south, center of India. So mainly people eat rice. If you see the coastal areas of India, mainly people eat rice. As you go to the center or on the top, towards the top of India, again it is dominated with a lot of grains, different grains.
Mhm.
So, but unfortunately, rice is also a grain and wheat is also a grain. And ultimately, the larger portion of standard Indian diet, about 80 to 90%, or sometimes even 100%,
That is made up of
is
carbohydrates.
carbohydrates.
Yeah.
And with ample food available nowadays through shops at as cheap as 5 rupees for a biscuit ka packet, and 3 rupees or 2 rupees a kg of rice, which is given by government to poor
Mhm,
people.
mhm,
And people who earn well have ample different foods available, like pizza, burgers, snacks, tea,
mhm,
coffee, soft
mhm.
drinks, juices, fruits. And people eat fruits and juices because they think they're healthy, and people eat a lot of cereals as breakfast. They give a lot of milk and protein products to their kids. So
Mhm.
we are exposed to a lot of high calorie, high carbohydrate rich food nowadays, and
Exactly.
that is leading to as young as kids, 16 years, 15 years, 14 years, experiencing diabetes.
That
Unfortunately,
is how
doctors.
basically the socioeconomic factors means when you actually getting outside, you are actually getting the exposure to high carbohydrate based packaged foods basically. And when a person is actually having the hunger, that person is buying all these things to feed that hunger. And if these all these things are easily available outside, means as you said, like from starting from rupees 5, means like any kind of thing that we get to see, 90%, 99% of the things that we get to see outside in the market all these things are basically carbohydrates. And that is how the
Absolutely.
environmental factors and socioeconomic factors also do affect, in the state of, or to becoming a pre-diabetic, or in the state of type 2 diabetes. I really agree with the
Absolutely.
fact. Yeah. So the matter
Absolutely.
of fact
Absolutely.
is, there are a lot of questions that have already answered basically with your, with completely linked to each other basically. So that's why I'm just skipping a little bit some questions around. So now tell me how physical exercise helps in reversing type 2 diabetes, how important role it plays.
Physical exercise. Well, it's very, very important question, and it's a good question that you've asked. So, people who are experiencing diabetes, people who are experiencing metabolic disorder, are also the same people who are experiencing chronic inflammation in the body. And one of the very, very primary reasons or core reasons for chronic inflammation is the oil that we use in our food. So, all the polyunsaturated oil known as vegetable oils. Actually, if you go back to the history, all those were industrial oils.
Mm.
And later, because the same companies could not sell it as industrial oils, and fossil oil was discovered all over the world, they started promoting as edible oil. And the problem started at that point of time. People still, in early 1900s, were still consuming ghee, coconut oil, palm oil, animal fat like lard, tallow. All these were used for cooking food. But because now these companies could not utilize the industrial oils anymore, they started developing something called it's a butter-like substance which is called I'm not getting a name right now, but that's what they started promoting initially in place of butter, and they started scaring people that butter causes heart disease,
Yeah.
and saturated oils are basically promoting heart disease. And that is what they used to selling industrial oils, and they remarketed it as vegetable oils and started selling it to people. So it became a huge success. If you see today, 99% of the people are using vegetable oils, which are extremely harmful for health, and they promote nothing but inflammation in the body. They are very high in omega-6 fatty acids, which are pro-inflammatory. Now, the people who are experiencing diabetes and metabolic disorders are the people who are experiencing chronic inflammation. And when the body is trying to fight this inflammation, it is tired from inside. So the initial part of the reverse diabetes process for the first 1 to 3 months, I do not ask people to exercise at high intensity. I only ask people to do easy yoga or just go out for walks or just do some meditation, etc., etc. So the first 1 to 3 months, I do not ask people to exercise at high intensity. It is moderate intensity, brisk walks, low intensity exercises. Because what happens is if a person is going and pushing himself and going and exercising and training at high intensity in the first 1 to 3 months, the chances of that person falling sick is very high. The chances of that person giving up on the program, giving up on the exercises is very, very high, because the person's body is tired from inside fighting out the
Exactly.
inflammation.
It's already
And
fighting
exercise
something from inside.
and
That's right. Yeah.
exercise adds to that stress, so it only increases the stress on the body. So exercise is great, exercise is excellent, but which type of exercise to select and in which phase is very important. So after 1 to 2 months or 3 months or 4 months, then the intensity has to increase. Then you can ask the person to slowly increase the intensity and the volume of the exercise.
Right, right, right. It's really very, very important information that you have just provided about this. So just a little bit out of the box question that one of my friends who is actually having a situation of diabetes type 2. So he asked me that whether intermittent fasting is allowed in diabetes or not. What's your opinion on this?
Absolutely. I mean, intermittent fasting is a part of reverse diabetes program. Uh, Even if you don't have diabetes, every person living on this planet should be following fasting methods, different fasting methods. Intermittent fasting is one of the ways that you can start doing fasting. And for that, first we have to understand what is fasting. Fasting literally means no food,
Right.
zero food. You can have water if you want, but fasting literally means no food. So you're going for few hours without eating any food. You can have water, you can have salt, you can add salt in the water, but nothing which has carbs, fats, and proteins. Okay, so no food. So no food, not eating for several hours, X number of hours. That is what is the definition of fasting. No food.
So does it affect
What
means
Indians,
like
yeah, sorry.
sugar drop or something like that? Does it affect somebody is already having
Yeah,
type 2
I'm coming
diabetes?
to that.
Yeah.
I'm coming to that. I'm coming to that point. So first, as Indians, Indians are very smart. We have that extra intelligence given by God to us. We have discovered fasting food. So or fast food. So I'm not talking about the fast food that is burgers and
Yeah.
pizzas. And so we have discovered what we can eat during the fast, and we called it fast food, like sabudana khichdi or potato khichdi or all the yummy stuff. And the women on the days when they fast, they make the most of the yummiest of the food. And till few years back, I used to always ask this question: if it's a fasting day, why are you eating? And the best food is made on the fasting day, and it is all carbohydrate rich food, it is all starchy food, so that really doesn't help fasting. Fasting is supposed to be without food. Now coming back to your question whether the sugar will drop or not. So a person who has been eating carb rich food, or a person who is basically a carb eater, or people who are experiencing diabetes or metabolic disorders, those are the people who are eating a lot of carbs. So how long does a carb give you energy? For about 2 to 3 hours or maximum 4 hours. So your energy goes up and then it falls down. Falls down means it doesn't come back to normal. It will go into hypoglycemia. So if this is your normal level and this is your high level where the high energy is, the energy drops down below the normal level. So it will. So if this is the center, this is the high energy after eating carbohydrates. After some time, after 4 hours, the energy drops down below the normal level. And that's the time when you start feeling low in energy, and that's the time when you want to eat carbohydrates again. Now you have to understand one very very basic fact. This is the very reason carbohydrates proves itself that it's an inferior kind of energy. Yeah, a superior kind of energy will give you long and sustained kind of
Sustainable.
energy.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, so the best superior kind of energy is saturated fat, because that gives you energy for 10 to 12 hours.
Right.
The next superior energy is proteins. That gives you energy for about 6 to 8 hours.
Correct.
The most inferior type of energy, very high in calories, which is useless energy, comes from exogenous carbohydrates, and which gives you about 3 to 4 hours of maximum energy, sometimes 2 hours. And that's why you have to keep refilling yourself with carbohydrates every 2 hours or
I
3 hours.
really agree with this point. I was just coming to this fact that it's exactly that is why we get to hear that if somebody is having a normal, diet chart from, there are a lot of dietitians and a lot of nutritionists that they do prescribe, like you have to eat just after every 2 to 3 hours of interval, like having to 5 to 6 meals in a day. So I really don't understand that fact that why a person needs to eat 5 to 6 meals in an entire day just after having, 2 to 3 hours of interval. That is what you just stated, means with proper scientific information that what exactly happens and why do you need to eat just after 2 to 3 hours of interval.
So this continuous hyperglycemia and hypoglycemia is the problem in metabolic disorders or diabetes. So we need to break this cycle of hyper and hypoglycemia. Now, how to break this cycle of hyper and hypoglycemia is gradually decrease the carbohydrate intake and gradually increase the protein and fat intake. And you have to start adapting to a different source of energy. So this adaptation phase is about 6 to 8 weeks. And moment you go through this adaptation phase and how will you understand whether you're adapting to it or not? Your adaptation, you will start reducing your hunger. Your hunger will start reducing. You will start feeling less frequently hungry. That is the sign of getting adapted to a different source of energy. And after 2 months or after 2.5 months, some people can get adapted faster, but after 2.5 months, when you are adapted to a superior kind of energy, that is proteins and fats, you can start increasing the time in between the meals. So you can have a 14-hour intermittent fasting. After some time, you can have a 16-hour. So gradually increase your time gaps between the meals and reduce the eating window to about 4 hours, 6 hours, and sometimes if you can reach one meal a day, that is 24 hours fasting, it will be great.
True, true, true. Means the only process is gradual progression, which is required if somebody is having type 2 diabetes. It's not like just boom, just the day after is need to start everything like that. Great. So lastly, I just want to ask that in an abstract, what will be your suggestion to reverse type 2 diabetes easily? Because you are an expert, so I hope means like people should get a real message from your side.
So the message is that start asking questions. Number one thing is people have stopped asking questions. People are encouraged to follow, not ask questions. And that is the problem with the education system that we have. Our education system is something that teaches us to follow, not to ask questions. So you should ignite that fire inside you. Why am I sick?
Right.
Why am I not healthy? Why my body is not able to experience health at its peak? What is the problem? What is causing the problem? Now, if you ask this question, what is causing the problem, to your healthcare provider, whether it is a nutritionist, whether it is your health coach, or whether it is your doctor, ask the root cause of your problem. And if that healthcare provider is not able to give you the right answer or satisfactory answer, please jump on the internet and look for yourself. Today, we have the blessing of having the internet in front of us where you can actually find out the root cause. The information is available free. You go out there and start asking questions. Why am I sick? And what is the root cause of diabetes?
So the most importantly, I've already got the last message from your side that what exactly it's necessary. It's necessary to ask question. It's like once a person starts asking question about that, what is the root cause? That is where that person is actually starts taking a step ahead to having a better lifestyle. It's really, really good. Okay, thank you so much. Means like it was a great conversation with you, and means like I was hoping this, and it just actually turned into a great conversation after all. And thank you so much for giving us time, and thank you so much for accepting my invitation for this content of Health Talks episode number 3. And it's really, I hope people will gonna love this, and of course people need to watch the entire conversation to get the real information about that, how exactly and what exactly means how to reverse type 2 diabetes easily.
Most welcome, Somik. Thank you once again for inviting me on your show. As I said, I'm always excited and happy to talk about health and spreading the right information. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you so much. Thanks to you for accepting the invitation.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much for watching this entire conversation, and thanks to Mr. Rahul Patel for accepting this invitation for the Health Talks episode number 3 on reverse type 2 diabetes. And I believe that this video will help a lot of people in answering the queries that they have regarding diabetes. Always ask questions to stay healthy. And don't forget to subscribe my channel and hit the like button and share this video. Thank you so much. Again, stay fit, Stera. Be fit with Raj. Bye.